Good morning, my friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today happens to be Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, Bobby, and to everyone else, happy Valentine's Day. It just so happens that last night on the way back to the house, my gas light came on. I figured this is a good opportunity to, for the very first time since we got it tuned, fill this thing up with E85, make 503 wheel horsepower, whatever it made on E, which is like 140 more than it made on pump. So it's fairly significant. And, you know, hang out with Bobby all day. No one's been in this car on E85. I have been. I think Bobby may have been in it on E85. I feel like she did down in Portland when we got it tuned, but no one else. Jared hasn't, my brothers haven't, my family, no one. So if we can muster up the time, it would be sick to go link up with some other people and just, you know, have fun in the car today, as long as you don't get too much snow. It's a Valentine's Day miracle, we're getting snow today, but if we don't get a ton of snow, it'd be kind of fun. It's been a while since we did an oil change on this car, a few thousand miles. So I think it's probably a good time to go ahead and change that as well. Let's get her done. Oil change is all finished up. Let's do the thing with the E85. We have a fairly simple setup for pumping the E85. It's an air-driven pump. So you put that pump into the barrel, put a hose from there to the car, connect the air to the pump, crack that valve, and the E starts flowing. Well, that is pretty much all there is to it. We got a lot of fuel, a full tank of fuel. So let's fire this thing up. This here is the ethanol content sensor. On pump gas, it was like 9.5% ethanol. So if we fire it up, the check engine light will flash until it's done reading the ethanol content, and it's gonna display the content there. We're about E68, 68% ethanol. I wish it was better. Should still make a lot of power. More than what it was for sure. Numbers wise, I have no clue what it's at, but close to 500 wheel. Let's go for a little rip. We gotta go pick up Bobby. Bobby asked to actually drive this car one more time before we let it go. And I'm not gonna tell her it's on E85. We're just gonna see if she can even like see a difference. It'll be interesting. Why does it feel so fast? There must be the new, I wonder if the new oil changed it.
Did you freaking put some E85 in it?
No.
You didn't? I'm not smelling corn. Honey.
What?
Did you put E85 in it?
Look at all the gauges, they'll tell you. Does that mean I'm saying 85?
Yes.
That's 74.
Oh. I don't know what the numbers mean, really.
Oh.
Is it on E85? It is!
It's one of your Valentine's Day presents.
It's on E85?
Yeah.
I freaking knew it! Right when I walked in the shop, that's what I said.
I know. But you weren't supposed to know. What the hell? This thing's not really like a top end type of build. It's not a higher ever. It's way more fun down low, like gripping the streets. This type of stuff right here, when you're doing like 80,
It's not.
that's like bumper?
Yes.
I was gonna go meet up with some more people and take them for rides or let them drive the 8. Check this out. We are getting smashed with snow right now. It's quite a bit. And I really do not want to destroy this car right now. Last thing I want to do is destroy the front bumper or the rear bumper again and have to fix it or respray it. We did just run in and grab all of the parts that we dropped off at zinc plating. Or zinc coating, zinc plating. So far, these are the 2 pieces that I've seen. This coolant crossover pipe looks okay. It was fairly pitted before, so I can see why it still looks a little bit pitted. Here's the dipstick tube. This thing turned out amazing. Looks brand new. They had a few different options for zinc. They had, I think it was like gold and black and then clear. This is all clear. And let's check out all the bolts. Oh my gosh. Okay. It's a little bit uneven. I don't even know how it's done. I'm pretty sure it's dunked in a tank. But that looks really nice. I like that. Here is the shifter cable bracket that goes on top of the trans. A little bracket for all the fuel lines. I believe this guy here is for the power steering pump. Bracket for the rack and pinion, bolting it to the subframe. That looks beautiful. This is the shifter cable linkage. And then of course, all of the hardware. This pretty much looks brand new. So if we go compare this to an actual brand new bolt, yeah, I would say they're fairly similar. They're both zinc plated. So that's pretty cool. That was an interesting process. Now we just have to run through and figure out what all these bolts are for. Wow, this stuff looks amazing. It was $150 to do all this. Compared to buying all new hardware, that would be so freaking expensive. There is still a little bit of rust on pieces. That's why I did decide to try and sandblast everything. But that little bit, I'm not too worried about. The heads are perfect. Oh yeah, all right. So here's kind of what the plan is. I have a ton of photos on my phone of where all the hardware goes. I'm going to sort through all this, figure out what is what, and I guess we can put together the actual subframe. So the subframe and the steering rack, sway bar, all that stuff has to be installed. Well, it's not gonna go on the car, but the rack and some other stuff can go back on the subframe, and we can start kind of getting a rough idea of how this thing's gonna turn out. We got everything bagged and sorted out for the most part. There's a few bolts left that we still need to figure out, but we can figure that out as we are going along, reassembling some stuff. I don't want to sit here and just organize bolts all day. I actually want to throw some stuff together. We can completely 100% get the trans together, the transfer case together, subframe with the rack, get the new hubs into the knuckles. We can do a lot of stuff today now that we have all of this hardware back. And it all looks so good. I'm very excited that we ended up going down this route. First things first, we got these little brackets right here with one bolt. These they bolt right onto the frame rail and they're for the fuel lines. So let's get these things on, see how nice this zinc looks against that fresh black paint. We got the brackets installed back onto the frame. Next up, I want to move on to subframe and steering rack, all that good stuff. So we got pretty much the whole front subframe, all this stuff right here. It's all ready to go. Turned out literally perfect. I did break the CV boot clamp pliers, so that's why we haven't got those clamps on yet. As soon as we get a new set of pliers, we can get those clamps on. Let's move on to the transfer case. I'm really excited to see how the new zinc plated hardware looks on this beautiful Cerakote. So the transfer's all finished up. Let's move on to this transmission here. I'm gonna pull the cases back apart. Nothing's bolted together, so just pop these two cases apart, make sure everything's installed correctly from what I can tell, and then we can get everything else installed. Linkage does have to be completely reassembled. We can get the linkage back on the trans and for the first time, see if it actually shifts through the gears using the linkage itself. Let's hope it does. Based off mine very limited knowledge, looks like this thing is 100% ready to go. We do need to seal up the case halves. I did throw a little bit of gear oil on the gears because it's gonna be sitting for a little bit, and I don't want them dry when we're first getting this thing going. So let's get some sealant, throw it on this bottom case here, slide that top case over, get it bolted down, and get everything else installed. I listened to you guys. I got DMs about this. I got comments about this. Pretty sure I even got an email about this, about using the right stuff by Permatex. Dries in 1 minute, so let's give it a shot. Trans is complete, looks freaking amazing. There definitely is some dry spray right here, which kind of sucks. We didn't get proper coating or proper coverage with the Cerakote. So that kind of sucks, especially because it's right on top as well. But there's no way I'm gonna pull this entire thing back apart, re-sandblast everything, and recoat it for a little bit of dry spray. It'll be all right. So now we got to figure out how all of this shifter linkage goes. This guy, that guy sits right there, and that piece is for the shifter cables themselves. So I'm really glad that we ended up zinking that instead of Cerakoting it, because zinc is just the proper thing to do on that piece. Pretty sure it's zinc coated from the factory, and that just looks factory AF. So all of those parts have to go on these pieces here, and I don't really remember how it goes, so wish me luck. We finally got it back together with no leftover parts, and I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. So let's slop her in. That little nub sticking out has to slide right down in between all those forks. I mean, it looks good, but it feels a little bit weird. I'm not exactly sure how it's supposed to feel, but it feels to me like it won't shift at all. I know it's obviously a combination of this lever and this lever here, but I didn't mess with it when it was out of the car before I pulled it apart, so this is kind of worrying me a little bit. Let's test it out. Got it sitting kind of where it should, got the shifter cables hooked up. Let's see if it'll shift. I have a bad feeling about this. Yeah, something's going on in there that I don't like. Looks like we have our first fuck up of the build. Transmission's not shifting at all. It could obviously be just our shifter assembly here, but I'm like 99.9% sure that this is put back together properly. It'll go into gear only if you like jam it into gear, which is obviously not proper. I'm gonna pop this case off real quick, take a quick look at it, see if we can see anything obvious that's going on. We got her back apart. I don't see a single thing different versus the photos I took on my phone. That's really the only reference I have to work from. The only thing I have to work from. I don't have any previous or prior knowledge of transmissions. So I'm going off everything on my phone that I took when we were pulling it apart. I don't know what's going on. Everything looks fine. We will figure it out. It's just a matter of like trying new things, doing more research, I guess. I do have a feeling it has to do with all of the balls and springs that go into the shift forks. It's a really weird assembly. So maybe I had that set up improperly. I'll go ahead and do some more research on that tonight. But if anyone has any suggestions as to what could be going on, drop a comment. Here's an in-depth shot of how everything's set up. Looks good to me. I don't know. Like I said, we'll get it figured out. It's just a matter of time. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you tomorrow.